Newsline. This is the VON Major Newscast.
Good evening. I am Tashan Tyson, in with the Overeer in Major News package for today, Friday, 1st February 2019. In our lead stories. Nationally, final contracts signed for TVET enhancement project construction, and Premier Brantley encourages stakeholders to use Nevis's sole airport, although it is a perennial problem. Regionally, European leaders vote to recognize Venezuela's self-declared interim president. Internationally, New Jersey Democrat joins presidential race. And in sports, LeBron James returns and leads Lakers to beat Clippers 123-120. We'll have the details of these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, VON.
Welcome back, and now the national news in detail. Plans for the implementation of the Technical Vocational Education and Training Enhancement, or TVET, program are progressing. Contracts to begin construction at secondary schools as part of the TVET Enhancement Project were signed in St. Kitts on Friday, 25th January, at the Ministry of Education's conference room. The signings took place between the Permanent Secretary in Education, Mr. William Hodge, and Mr. Michael Bino of Bino Rowe Wilshire Partners Architectural Practice from Trinidad, whose company was granted the work for St. Kitts, and Gilbert Fontenard from FDL Consulting of St. Lucia, who will work the Nevis end of the project. The event marked the end of the project's development phase following years of planning, preparation, vetting, and reviewing of the bids from firms. As part of the TVET enhancement project, rehabilitation work and, in some cases, erection of infrastructure will be done at the TVET labs at the high schools on both islands, with the exception of Bastia High. The facilities at the Advanced Vocational Education Center AVEC will be expanded to provide both additional classrooms and lab spaces. Both representatives from the contracted firms agreed that their joint experience will deliver a product that meets the expectations of the users and one that is also of the highest quality. In more national news.
The Van Samer International Airport, we know that's been a perennial problem. I continue, of course, to invite the Nevisian public, those who are traveling from Nevis, those who are coming into Nevis, invite our stakeholders, the hotels, etc., that they play a role in promoting the use of the Van Samer Airport. Truth is that the flights are there, they are available, and we can connect people through San Juan, we can connect them through St. Martin, we can connect them through Antigua, and many choose not to use the flight. You can't have it both ways. You cannot choose not to use the airport and then criticize the government saying the airport is dead. I think that we have sought to do our part, which is to have a facility which is safe, facility which is regulated. We have brought the flights at great cost and expense to the taxpayers of the country. And when we don't use the flights and they fly empty, we still have to pay. So I'm inviting our people to use the Van Samer Airport.
Premier and Minister of Foreign Affairs and Aviation, the Honorable Mark Brantley. He was at the time speaking during his first press conference for 2019 on January 31st. Many persons here in Nevis choose not to use the airport services offered at the Vance W. Amory International Airport, Nevis's lone airport. Although the situation at the airport, according to Premier Brantley, is a perennial problem, he mentioned initiatives which are being developed to improve the situation.
To that end, we have commissioned an ad campaign. I believe it's dubbed Fly Local, and that ad campaign we hope is to be released very shortly. I'm told the finishing touches are being done on that. And in that regard, the Cabinet has also considered a proposal from a company called B&L Worldwide Limited to create a hub facility at the Vance Ambridge Airport. That will entail an arrangement where the facility is leased to this entity, and that entity will have responsibility for construction and upgrades and development. And I think that we will hear more about that in the ensuing weeks and months. But we are at the final stages of those discussions with them, recognizing that we need transportation, and transportation links are critical if we are to develop the island.
Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley. St. Kitts and Nevis will benefit from one of two agreements signed by the European Union, EU, and the World Bank's Global Facility for Disaster Reduction and Recovery. The agreement will provide 30.7 million euros to fund disaster risk management in the Caribbean. The programs will support Caribbean countries to plan for long-term resilience and climate-smart growth strategies, and to design and implement innovative policy and investment initiatives. The two programs that will benefit are the Caribbean Regional Resilience Building Facility and the Technical Assistance Program for Disaster Risk Financing and Insurance in Caribbean Overseas Countries and Territories, OCTs. The Caribbean Region Resilience Building Facility will benefit St. Kitts and Nevis and 14 other Caribbean countries. It will provide technical assistance to mainstream resilience, leveraging investments to reduce vulnerability, and expanding financial protection against disasters. Deputy Governor General of Nevis, Her Honor, Mrs. Hailita Liburd, visited students and teachers at the Charlestown, Gingerland, and Nevis International Secondary Schools and the Nevis Sixth Form College. At the end of her visit, Mrs. Liburd said that the meetings came about because of her love for people and children. Mrs. Liburd noted that during the sessions, the students appeared attentive. There were occasional questions, and she received comments after the sessions. Nonetheless, she expressed hope that they understood her message. She stated that she hoped to continue interacting with students in various settings. Today, February 1st, 2019, marks the 41st anniversary of the St. Christopher and Nevis Social Security Fund. Inaugurated in 1978, the fund was set up to offer more meaningful income protection benefits to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. Since its inception, the fund has steadily progressed to become a major source of economic stability both for insured persons and for the nation as a whole. The fund, which stands with reserves totaling over $1 billion, has made significant contributions to a wide section of society, including education and housing to community development support, from sports to health, and more recently to national security. To commemorate this anniversary, the board, the management, and staff will participate in Thanksgiving services on both islands. The first service will be held at the Resurrection and Life Church, Lower Fines Avenue, on Sunday, February 17th at 9 a.m. on St. Kitts, and at St. Paul's Anglican Church on Nevis. The date for that service will be announced in a subsequent notice. The board wishes to thank the people of the Federation for the success that the fund has achieved to date. Officials from the University of the West Indies Health Economics Unit, Center for Health Economics based in Trinidad, have expressed their interest in continuing to work with the St. Kitts and Nevis government in the shaping and smooth process of implementation of the country's universal health care coverage. Members from the institution have officially completed their contractual obligations, having participated in a number of related activities during the design phase. However, economist Charmaine Metivier at the St. Augustine campus said that the team welcomes the opportunity for continued engagement. Alistair Edwards, Permanent Secretary responsible for Universal Health Care, praised the UWI team for its work over the past year and the commitment to further the cooperation. Having fulfilled their contractual mandate, the UWI team is scheduled to leave the Federation next week. Airline passengers should always adhere to security and safety procedures to ensure hassle-free travel. So says Senior Civil Aviation Officer within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Aviation, Royston Griffin. According to Mr. Griffin, one such procedure is the 311 liquid rule, which states that each passenger must carry liquids, gels, and aerosols in travel-size containers that are 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters. Each passenger is limited to 1 quart-size bag of liquids, gels, and aerosols. Common travel items that must comply with the 311 liquids rule include toothpaste, shampoo, conditioner, mouthwash, lotion, and perfume. According to information from www.tsa.gov, the 311 liquids rule was implemented as a result of the August 10, 2006 incident when authorities in the United Kingdom arrested a group suspected of planning to blow up a large number of airplanes bound to the United States and Canada using a sports drink and other chemicals to make an explosive cocktail. In the aftermath, the Transportation Security Administration, TSA, banned all liquids and carry-on baggage in flights leaving from or going to the United States. After rigorously testing liquids, the TSA implemented the 311 rule in September 2006. Finally, African survivals in St. Kitts and Nevis. That's the theme for the Heritage Month here in St. Kitts and Nevis. History and Heritage Month, which was started by the late Sir Probin Innes, is observed during the month of February and was officially opened on January 31st. History and Heritage Month features outreach activities held by various organizations including the Brimstone Hill National Park Society, Department of Culture and Ministry of Education, the Nevis Historical and Conservation Society, the St. Christopher National Trust, and other partner agencies. The activities are designed to promote greater knowledge, understanding, and appreciation of the history, heritage, and culture of the country, and to foster stronger national identities and pride. Prime Minister Dr. The Honorable Timothy Harris declared the month of activities open and stated that the greatest gift that we can pass on to our children and to their children is a timeless gift of our heritage, which they must always treasure because of its immense value. That's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com. Check us out on our Facebook at Von Radio and our Von Radio YouTube channel. News from across the region is next.
We know you have your personal as well as your business needs, and we're here to help. Our knowledgeable staff will work with you to help you achieve the financial success that you or your company needs in a competitive market. We offer solutions that make your banking experience easier, like our savings and checking accounts. Be sure to ask about our youth savers accounts and our Bank of Nevis Gold Club. We offer a wide range of personal loans, including mortgage, land, student, auto, and consumer loans. Have access to your funds instantly with our BeOnline internet banking and our debit and credit cards. We make international banking and investing easy. How's your business? Give it the leverage it really needs by letting the Bank of Nevis assist you with all the necessary funding for all your business expenses. It's that easy. What are you waiting for? The Bank of Nevis Limited. Improving the quality of life.
Like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/The Bank of Nevis.
Welcome back. Another regional news in detail. European leaders voted overwhelmingly to recognize Venezuela's self-declared interim president Juan Guaido as head of state. At a special session in Brussels, politicians in the European Parliament voted 429 in favor to 104 against, with 88 abstentions. The vote is non-binding, but the Parliament urged the bloc's 28 governments to consider Guaido the only legitimate interim president. They joined the US, Canada, and Mexico in supporting Guaido, who declared himself interim president last Wednesday, and pressing for President Nicolas Maduro, who was sworn in for a second consecutive term earlier this month, to step down. Britain, France, Germany, and Spain said last Saturday that they would recognize Guaido unless Maduro called elections within 8 days. Additionally, Mr. Guaido has refused to rule out accepting U.S. military support amid escalating political crisis, saying that the Venezuelan people want to end President Maduro's dictatorship with whatever pressure is necessary. Meantime, the University of the West Indies Seismic Research Center recorded a 4.4 earthquake off Trinidad and Tobago yesterday, Thursday, January 31st. The quake struck at 12:10 a.m. about 50 kilometers west-southwest of the capital Port of Spain, 61 kilometers northwest of San Fernando, and 74 kilometers west-southwest of Arima. There were no reports of injuries or damage, but several residents reported feeling the tremor and noted their experiences on the SRC's Facebook page. Out of Guyana. Acting Chief Justice Roxanne George Wilshire on Thursday ruled that a motion of no confidence passed in the National Assembly on December 21st last year that brought down the David Granger-led coalition government is valid, paving the way for fresh regional and general elections to be held later this year. According to St. Lucia NewsOnline.com, under the Guyana Constitution, elections must be held within 90 days of the motion of no confidence being passed. Attorney General Basil Williams has since given notice that he intends to appeal the ruling. In a new 4-hour ruling, Justice George Wilshire also said that anyone who holds dual citizenship as envisaged by Article 155 of the Guyana Constitution should not and could not be a member of the Guyana Parliament. Justice George Wilshire was delivering her ruling in the 3 matters regarding the validity of the successful Opposition People's Progressive Party (PPP) motion of no confidence. Back in December 2018, government legislator Shanrandas Persad, lawmaker, who is from the ruling coalition in Guyana, voted with the opposition for a no confidence motion, bringing down the administration of President David Granger and forcing fresh elections. He said he voted with his conscience. Out of St. Lucia. A motion of no confidence in Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Alan Chastanet, brought by leader of the parliamentary opposition and leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party SLP, Philippe J. Pierre, was voted down on party lines 11-6 in the early hours of Wednesday morning. The result was not viewed locally as a total loss for the opposition, since it showed that everyone in the ruling administration is in total agreement with the direction the Prime Minister is taking the country. Based on information from local media, in presenting his motion, Pierre was quoted as saying, "This motion of no confidence in the Prime Minister is not a political gimmick intended to embarrass the Prime Minister, nor is it a personal attack on him." The debate came amid an escalating political and economic crisis and St. Lucia's new ranking at number 50 in the world's most corrupt countries in the world. And finally, out of the U.S. Virgin Islands. Chief District Court Judge Wilma A. Lewis on January 18th sentenced Yasmin Massicut, age 40 of St. Croix, to 3 years of supervised release with 6 months of home confinement for possession of cocaine with intent to distribute, United States Attorney Gretchen C.F. Shepard announced. Judge Lewis also ordered Massicut to pay a fine of $1,000 and a special assessment of $100. According to the Sixth Consortium, on October 11, 2016, Massicut pleaded guilty to possession of cocaine with intent to distribute. According to court documents, on December 14, 2013, Massicut was stopped and searched by corrections officers as she entered Golden Grove Correctional Facility. The search uncovered cocaine powder and marijuana in a bag that she was carrying. Massicut admitted that she was bringing the drugs to an inmate for a fee. At the time of the event, Massicut was employed as a corrections officer with the Golden Grove Correctional Facility. The case was investigated by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration and the Virgin Islands Bureau of Corrections. That's it for regional stories. Stay with us for news from around the world. Welcome back, and all the international news in detail. Democrat Cory Booker says he will run for president in 2020 election, joining a crowded field of candidates seeking the party's nomination. The New Jersey Senator 49 was elected in 2013 after serving as mayor of the state's largest city, Newark. He has been a vocal critic of Mr. President Donald Trump, slamming his administration's policies on issues such as immigration and climate change. Mr. Booker has long been touted as a rising star of the Democratic Party. Australia recorded its hottest month ever in January, with average temperatures exceeding 30 degrees Celsius for the first time. According to the Bureau of Meteorology, the extreme heat was unprecedented during the country's summer period. At least 5 January days were among the 10 warmest on record, with daily national temperature highs of 40 degrees Celsius. The UN Refugee Agency says safe passage must be provided for civilians fleeing the fighting in northeastern Syria. It says people have had to struggle through minefields. Here is more from the BBC's Imogen Fox.
When they reach areas now in control of the US-backed Syrian Defense Force, they face a long wait in the open while security screening takes place. 2 weeks ago, the UN asked the SDF and those with influence over it for permission to set up a transit camp to provide emergency aid. That request has not been answered. Meanwhile, the existing camp at Al-Hol is overcrowded. Aid workers are struggling to treat the many cases of hypothermia and malnutrition.
U.S. President Donald Trump has dismissed a federal investigation into alleged Russian coalition in the 2016 election and talks about a proposed border wall. His lawyers had been reassured he was not a target in Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation, he said. Talks in Congress about wall funding, the issue behind the recent government shutdown, were a waste of time. At least 21 people have died in one of the worst cold snaps to hit the U.S. Midwest in decades. Some 250 million Americans have experienced the polar vortex conditions with temperatures of negative 17 degrees Celsius. A polar vortex is a large pocket of very cold air, typically the coldest air in the northern hemisphere. Hospitals have been treating patients reporting frostbite. And finally, 8 tons of pangolin scales and more than 1,000 elephant tusks have been seized from a shipping container in Hong Kong, officials say. The container from Nigeria and said to be carrying frozen beef was searched after a tip-off. The illegal cargo has an estimated value of about $8 million. The BBC's Celia Hatton gives us more.
In January, the Hong Kong authorities got a tip-off regarding a suspect shipment coming from Nigeria. They inspected a refrigerated cargo container and found a record haul inside. More than $8 million worth of pangolin scales and the tusks of 500 elephants. Experts estimate that around 13,000 highly endangered pangolins were killed for that shipment. Pangolins, also known as scaly anteaters, are prized in China for their meat and the perceived medicinal value of their scales.
That brings us to the end of our news segments. The latest in sports is next.
Most of us spend the better part of each weekday at the workplace. So why not make your office environment the kind of setting that helps you function at your personal best by outfitting it with top quality furniture, high-end photocopiers, printers, versatile office supplies, and the latest technology. The friendly and knowledgeable staff at the TDC Business Center are happy to provide you with personalized service to help you create an office space that's the total package. TDC Business Center, providing solutions that work.
Welcome back. Another sports in detail. LeBron James had 24 points and 14 rebounds in his return from a 17-game injury absence, and the Los Angeles Lakers beat the Clippers 123-120 in overtime Thursday night after blowing a 14-point fourth-quarter lead. James came up 1 assist shy of a triple-double. He made 5 of 7 free throws and had no fouls in 40 minutes of his first game since Christmas at Golden State when he strained his left groin. The Lakers were 6-11 during the longest absence of his 16-year career. Meantime, Joel Embiid had 26 points and 20 rebounds to spoil DeMarcus Cousins' home debut with the Warriors, and the Philadelphia 76ers snapped Golden State's NBA Best 11 game winning streak with 113-104 victory Thursday night. Philadelphia had not won a game in the series in nearly 6 years. And Derek White scored a career-high 26 points, and the San Antonio Spurs rallied in the fourth quarter to beat Brooklyn 117-114 on Thursday night, their 16th straight win home over the Nets. In local sports, the action in the Brownhill basketball tournament continued on Thursday night at the Brownhill court. In the end, the Massives beat the Rebels. Final scores: CG Massives 52, CG Rebels 51. And finally, in boxing, Unified World Heavyweight Champion Anthony Joshua is very likely to scrap his 13th April date at Wembley Stadium, says promoter Eddie Hearn. Joshua, 29, signed a 2-date agreement to fight at the National Stadium, with the first being his September 22nd win over Alexander Povetkin. Hearn says a fight with Dillian Whyte in the UK or American Jarrell Miller in New York is set to be Joshua's next test. Should a rematch with Whyte, beaten by Joshua in 2015, go ahead in the summer, another UK stadium would be sought, with Hearn saying Wembley would not be part of the equation again this year. Whyte, 30, made public his frustration at the initial financial offer to take the fight, but has since been offered improved terms. That's it for sports. Up next, General Weather Report. Welcome back, and now the local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. Weather tonight will be fair to partly cloudy with a 10% or slight chance of showers. Weather tomorrow will be partly sunny with a 40% or moderate chance of afternoon showers. Winds will be east to northeasterly tonight, becoming easterly by tomorrow, with speeds ranging between 15 to 30 kilometers per hour or 8 to 16 knots. Seas are not exceeding 1.5 meters or 5 feet. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 6:42 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the mid-news package for today, Friday, 1st February 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, Final contract signed for TVET enhancement project construction, and Premier Brantley encourages stakeholders to use Nevis's sole airport, although it is a perennial problem. Regionally, European leaders vote to recognize Venezuela's self-declared interim president. Internationally, New Jersey Democrat joins presidential race. And in sports, LeBron James returns and leads Lakers to beat Clippers 123-120. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tashan Tyson, wishing you a great weekend.